spent in a miserable way.
U.S. News as shutdown ends. Workers have little faith about future. Chicago Tribune. Assigned near ATSA security checkpoint states support of Seattle's support for federal government workers. Friday, January the 25th, 2019, in Seattle. Assigned near ATSA security checkpoint states support of Seattle's support for federal government workers. Friday, January the 25th, 2019, in Seattle. Federal workers who have gone a month without getting paid during the longest government shutdown in U.S. history expressed relief Friday that a deal had been reached to end the impasse, but are worried they'll be in the same spot in a few weeks. Ivan Toller and his wife spent an exhausting 3 weeks calling, researching and haggling to get relief from government agencies, schools, banks and utility companies to scrape by during the shutdown that caused him to be furloughed from his cartographer job at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in West Virginia. For Toller, the end of the shutdown was far from a cause for celebration. The deal announced, "We won't be spending money like we normally would," said Melinda Toller. "We will be more cautious." Toller was one of about 800,000 furloughed federal workers thrust into weeks of uncertainty and financial hardship, leading many to take out loans, apply for unemployment, do temporary jobs and launch online campaigns asking for donations. The end of the 35-day impasse came on what would have been the second payday with no checks for federal workers. The deal includes Alicia Lane, a management analyst with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration from Laurel, Maryland, said she's excited she'll get a paycheck soon, but said the only luxury spending she might do right away is taking her two sons, 12 and 8, to the movie theater. Admitting to mounting pressure amid growing disruption, President Donald Trump agreed to a deal Friday to reopen the government for 3 weeks, backing down from his demand that Congress give him money for his border wall before federal agencies get back to work. Standing alone in the Rose Garden, Lane was among hundreds of federal workers who launched GoFundMe campaigns to get financial help during the shutdown. She needed help to, "I am saving every dime. I never want to be." Lane scoffed at President Trump's assertion in his Friday announcement that federal employees agreed with him and were yet complaining. Who was he talking to? Lane said. Single-parent Leisica Parrott, a Bureau of Land Management employee in Arcata, California, was driving with her son Friday when she heard a radio news broadcast about the deal to reopen the federal government for 3 weeks. Her cell phone immediately. Rebecca McLean, the housing program specialist for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in Pittsburgh, whose furlough began December the 21st, was washing dishes and listening to NPR when the news broke of a deal to temporarily end the shutdown. She is celebrating until Trump puts ink to paper. "I am not going to check my bank balance," she said. She and her husband have been grateful for the outpouring of support from IBIS. Some dropped off. The Tollers were approved for food stamps and arranged for free breakfasts and lunches from the schools for their 4 children, and Ivan Toller had already submitted his unemployment application. He said the family is left with hard feelings for politicians and a deep desire to keep more money in savings. "This seems to be a recurring theme, so we're definitely going to be prepared for it," Toller said. Associated Press writer Michael Kunzelman contributed to this report. Federal workers who have gone a month without getting paid during the longest government shutdown in U.S. history expressed relief Friday that a deal had been reached to end the impasse, but are worried they'll be in the same spot in a few weeks. Ivan Toller and his wife spent an exhausting 3.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.